Golfunity, the most popular golf infotainment podcast in town. Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We've got this great stack of sources you send in, all focusing on one player who's really been making waves lately.
That's right, yeah, Sepp Straka. And this is going to be our deep dive, using only the stuff you provided to kind of trace his path. You know, how did he go from maybe being a bit under the radar to, well, a multiple PGA Tour winner, Ryder Cup player, all that?
Exactly. These sources are like our roadmap because they paint this picture of a really spectacular 2025 season for him, capped off by his biggest win. And there's some pretty interesting stuff in here about how it all started. Really unique journey.
Okay, yeah, let's get into it. One of the first things that jumps out from these sources is just how surprising his whole career path feels, even to Sepp himself.
Totally. He says he kind of finds it hard to believe sometimes. And, you know, the sources point right back to the beginning with his twin brother, Sam.
Yeah, that's a key part of the story, isn't it? Sam was apparently the better golfer early on, the one people thought might go pro.
Right. They play football first, apparently. And Sepp uses this analogy, like Sam was the striker scoring goals and he was the goalie. Just shows that difference back then.
Before golf even, yeah. And then Sam, around age 11 or so, decides, right, we're quitting football, we're doing golf.
Pretty wild having your twin make that call. And the sources talk about these chipping and putting contests they had. Super competitive.
And Sepp apparently lost most of the time.
Yeah, he jokes about how he'd have been broke if they played for money back then.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is how that played out with college. Sam was the one getting recruited by the University of Georgia. The coach was focused on Sam and only kind of later realized, oh, wait, this other twin, Sepp, he can play a bit too.
Seriously. Sepp actually credits Sam, based on these sources, with getting both of them noticed by the coach. That's how they end up with scholarships.
That's quite a start. And Sam's still playing, right? Still aiming for the tour himself.
Yeah, still grinding, still has that dream. Shows you how deep that connection, that maybe friendly rivalry, runs. It's like fundamental to Sepp's story, according to this material.
Okay, so from college, the sources track his path into the pros. It wasn't instant success, was it?
No, definitely a grind. Started on PGA Tour Canada back in 2016. Then 2 years on the Web.com tour, which we now know is the Korn Ferry Tour.
Right, and his first pro win was there, wasn't it? The KC Golf Classic.
Yep, 2019. And that was huge because, as the sources point out, that's what got him his PGA Tour card.
And not just a PGA Tour card. He was the first Austrian-born player ever to get one. That's a pretty big deal highlighted right here.
A major milestone for Austrian golf, yeah. Then came the actual PGA Tour breakthrough. 2022 Cognizant Classic, his first win.
Right, the old Honda Classic. Again, the first Austrian to win on the PGA Tour. Won it by a shot, final round 66.
I guess who he beat? Shane Lowry.
Lowry again. Seems like their paths cross at big moments.
Seems like it. Then win number 2, 2023 John Deere Classic. That was that crazy final round.
Oh, yeah, the near 59. What happened there?
He was absolutely cruising. Looked like 59 was on, but then he double bogeyed the 18th. Still won, though. 9 birdies, an eagle. Just wild stuff.
So that pattern, again, brilliant play mixed with having to kind of fight through a tough spot.
Exactly. And that kind of form led him to the big stages the sources talk about next, like his Ryder Cup debut in 2023.
Marcus Simone, he was on the winning European team.
And he delivered a point, didn't he? In foursomes alongside.
Don't tell me, Shane Lowry.
You got it, Shane Lowry. It's uncanny.
Okay, so beyond the Ryder Cup, 2023 was big for majors too, according to them.
Yeah, his best finishes so far. Runner-up at the Open at Royal Liverpool. Brian Harman won that one.
Right, and a T7 at the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. Solid stuff.
Plus, he's played in 2 Olympics for Austria, T10 in Tokyo, T35, more recently in 2024. So he's definitely comfortable on that world stage now.
Okay, now we get to 2025. Yeah. And the sources describe the start of this year as spectacular.
Yeah, and maybe even that doesn't quite cover it now. His third win came pretty early, January 2025, the American Express.
Beat Justin Thomas by 2 shots there.
But then came the really big one, win number 4.
Yeah.
The Truist Championship in May.
And this one felt different, right? The sources really emphasized this one.
Oh, yeah. His first win at a signature event, you know, the huge purse, the elite field, $20 million prize fund. He won it at Philly Cricket Club.
Wissahickon course. And who was right there with him at the end? Tied, starting the final round.
Shane Lowry again.
Yeah.
And Justin Thomas was in the mix, too. He beat them both by 2 strokes.
That final round sounds like a real battle based on the descriptions here.
Oh, totally. Sepp talked about the nerves, said it was hard to eat, felt kind of nauseous, couldn't feel his arms or legs, just brutal pressure.
Wow. But he got through it, fought off mistakes, bad shots.
And the sources pinpoint that shot on 18. That was the moment.
Yeah. What happened?
He was in a fairway bunker, only had a 1-shot lead, pulled out a 4-iron from like 216 yards, hit it to about 30 feet. Clutch.
Incredible shot under pressure. He called it one of his best of the week, right?
Yeah. And while he did that, Lowry found trouble on 18, made bogey. That sealed it for Sepp.
Wow. And wasn't there a story about his caddy that week, too?
Oh, yeah. Great detail in the sources. His regular caddy, Dwayne Bach, was out with a bad back.
Yeah.
So Drew Mathers stepped in.
Right. And Mathers skipped U.S. Open qualifying for it.
He did. Talk about a gamble paying off. Potential $360,000 payday for him. Amazing.
Just incredible. And the sources mentioned Rory McIlroy coming up to him afterwards.
Yeah, congratulating him, but also specifically mentioning the Ryder Cup points. That little detail tells you everything about how his peers see him now. His status has definitely changed.
For sure. And the sources back that up. He's now one of only 2 guys with multiple wins this season on tour, him and Rory.
That's elite company. So this Truist win, what did it actually do for him, like rankings-wise, according to these sources?
It was massive. Pushed him inside the world top 10 for the first time, number 9.
Wow, okay. And the first Austrian ever in the top 10.
Exactly. Another huge milestone. And he jumped way up the FedEx Cup standings, too, second place behind Rory.
That consistency is showing up. The sources say 12 cuts made in 14 starts this year, 10 top 15s. That's really solid.
It is. And the sources trace a lot of this improvement back to around 2022. That's when he started with a new coach, John Tillery.
Ah, okay. And what was the big change they made?
Well, he was kind of known as this powerful but maybe inconsistent driver. So they made a conscious decision to throttle down a touch, as the sources put it, focus more on accuracy.
Throttle down. That sounds interesting.
Right.
For a pro trying to get better, how did that help? What changed in his game?
It seems counterintuitive, right? But the sources say it led to huge gains in accuracy, obviously, but also his short game got way better, putting, scrambling, all that stuff.
Okay, so hitting more fairways, maybe hitting it closer.
Exactly. And the stats here really bear that out. He ranks really high in strokes gained, approach greens in regulation, and actually says he leads the whole PGA Tour in greens in regulation, 72%.
Leads the tour. Wow. Okay, so he's hitting greens more than anyone else. That's a recipe for consistency right there.
Definitely. And then high ranks in strokes gained. Putting and scrambling mean when he does miss, or when he's on the green, he's capitalizing or saving par way better than average. It's a complete picture.
And he mentioned a small technical tweak too, right? Something about his grip.
Yeah, just a little thing for the short game this season. He tried a slightly firmer grip, and his hands are a little higher now. Tiny adjustments making a big difference.
Fascinating. So, okay, thinking about his journey, these changes he made, what can someone listening, maybe working on their own golf game, actually learn from Sepp Straka based on all this?
Yeah, that's a great question. The sources offer some really good takeaways. First off, his mindset seems key. It's about consistency, not chasing perfection all the time.
Right. He's not trying to hit the perfect shot every time he's trying to hit the same shot repeatedly. Yeah. Sticking to the process even when the pressure's on.
And linked to that is being willing to make small adjustments mid-round. Like, he apparently made a swing change during the Truist tournament.
Whoa, really, during the event?
Yeah, no, that doesn't mean, completely rebuilding your swing on the 5th tee. It's more about making smart little tweaks if something feels off, knowing your game.
Okay, yeah. For amateurs, maybe that's just noticing, hey, my ball position's crept forward, or my grip pressure is too tight. Making those small corrections instead of just grinding with something that's not working.
Exactly. Adaptability. Another thing is quality practice, not just banging balls for hours.
Right. Focus on one specific thing with intention. Purposeful practice.
30 focused minutes is better than an hour of just hitting, basically, and then trusting that prep. The sources say Sepp makes his decisions behind the ball, then commits fully when he steps in.
No second guessing over the ball. Trust the work he did. Makes sense.
Yeah. And there are even some direct tips for amateurs in here from Sepp.
Oh, yeah.
Number 1. Straightness over distance. He basically says, just getting the ball into the fairway is huge. Stop trying to kill it if you're spraying it everywhere.
Good advice.
What else? Having a predictable eye. Know your typical shot shape. Factor in the wind. Aim realistically based on how you actually hit the ball. Don't aim for a shot you can't hit.
Right, play your own game.
And keep the swing smooth. Tempo, tempo, tempo. Don't strain for power. Light grip, full turn, stay balanced. Accuracy first, distance second. That seems to be his mantra now.
That aligns with the whole throttling down thing.
Exactly. Oh, and there's this drill, mentioned the Straka rhythm drill.
Okay.
You take like 3 different irons of 5, 7, 9 maybe, swing them without a ball, just focusing on keeping the exact same tempo for all 3 swings. Then try to hit balls with that same feeling, that same rhythm.
Ah, neat. Focusing purely on tempo, not distance. That's a practical one you could actually do.
Yeah, definitely actionable. So, all right, looking ahead then, based on the sources, what's next for him after this incredible run?
Well, the Ryder Cup looms large, doesn't it? 2025 at Bethpage Black. He's put himself in a fantastic spot for the European team.
Yeah, the sources say that Truist win shot him up 15 places in the points list. He's sitting 5th now in the automatic spots.
And guess who's second?
Let me guess.
Lowry.
Bingo. Shane Lowry is second. So that potential pairing is definitely looking strong again.
Interesting. And Sepp expects Bethpage to be tough, right? The New York crowd.
Oh, yeah. He knows it'll be loud and heavily pro-USA. Very different vibe from Rome. But he seems kind of ready for that challenge.
And then more immediately, there's the PGA Championship coming up at Quail Hollow. How does he feel about that?
He knows the course. Finished 8th there last year, though he missed the cut the year before. He thinks it might play really long this year because of rain they've had.
Makes sense. And fellow Austrian Bernd Weisberger thinks he could win a major now.
Yeah, Weisberger's quoted saying, anything is possible for Sepp in the majors with his current form. That's pretty high praise. Definitely. And that Truist win also locks up his tour card through 2028, right? That's huge for long-term planning.
Massive security. Allows him to just focus on playing his best golf. Oh, and a couple of fun tidbits from the sources before we wrap.
Yeah.
His nickname is the Ox. He loves Diet Coke, apparently travels with it in case the tournament only has Pepsi.
That's dedication.
And he's a big University of Georgia football fan, and Atlanta Braves too. And his career earnings, over $26 million now.
Wow. Quite a journey from losing those chipping contests to Sam.
Isn't it just? So, okay, let's try and summarize what we've unpacked from your sources here about Sepp Straka.
Well, we've seen this pretty unlikely rise, haven't we? Starting with his twin brother being the golfer in the family.
Yeah, that was key. And then the deliberate changes he made to his game around 2022, that whole throttling down for accuracy, really honing the short game.
Yeah.
That seems crucial.
Absolutely. That led to this incredible consistency we're seeing now, and obviously the big wins, including that signature event.
And we pulled out some really useful lessons too, hopefully for you listening. That focus on consistency over perfection, being adaptable, practicing with purpose.
Trusting your preparation, valuing accuracy, working on rhythm, all good stuff.
Yeah. Hopefully digging into Straka's story using these sources gave you some aha moments, maybe some inspiration for your own game, or just a better understanding of what it takes at that elite level.
You know, seeing him go from, like you said, the second best golfer in his own family to a top 10 player in the world leading the tour in a key stat like greens and regulation.
It does make you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Based purely on these sources, what does his success story really tell us about getting to the top? Is it more about raw talent? Or is it that persistence, that strategic change, trusting your process, and just relentlessly improving those fundamentals?
Something to definitely mull over.
Head over to our social media.
Yeah?
Tell us what you think.
Let's hear it.
And give us your predictions for the future of golf.
Until next time.
Keep it in the fairway.
And hit 'em straight.